What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is Monday night, and if you can't tell by the look on my face, I am ecstatic to be back on camera, be back on the microphone, and be back with you guys, man. Spent a week out in LA. We spent, a couple days off even before I went out there for the Elite 11. Some work issues going on with Dicko, the producer, so we took some time off there, and then had to go out to LA to cover the Elite 11. Had some layoff there, out there just working for Sports Illustrated All-American. Now we get back and do the stuff that we all love, which is listen to me just go absolutely bonkers on this microphone. I'm probably going to redline the crap out of this thing tonight. So if that happens, feel free to let me know in the comments. I'll tone it down a little bit. But I haven't been this excited to deliver some takes in quite a while. And the subs are already started. You know how we do this around here. We give these as a free giveaway to the Patreon subscription. Jay Calloway starting it off with two of these guys. Now, if y'all get as crazy as y'all did on the last NBR show, I'm sorry. We'll kind of flash you on the screen, but I can't just stop my takes every single time because we'll be doing this all night. I think last time we had over 20 free subs just given away because of you guys and your donations through this YouTube channel. Every dollar that is donated here goes directly into providing our service to a new member. That is how this family grows. It's mostly organic growth through our own subscribers that are out here doing this stuff. Jay Calloway being one of those guys. So appreciate you, Jay. Robert, you are still on suspension, so don't even think about it. You got another 2 weeks of suspension left. No subs from you tonight, even though you have been our major donor in this business or on this channel over the last couple of weeks. So I'll get that out of the way. You guys, as y'all sub tonight, I appreciate you. Again, we will flash you on the screen, but we got a whole bunch of business to take care of tonight, and I got some takes to drop because I ain't been delivering takes in over a week and a half. I didn't even have to drink no daggone coffee before we got on the show tonight. I am absolutely juiced and amped up for tonight, as always. But no, man, I've got a great one for you, as we typically do. I'm going to give you some early NIL, name, image, and likeness impressions. We've had our first week of this, right? It started July 1st, so we've had about 5 days of this, some would call nonsense, since we started, and we've seen the boys be getting some Crystal sponsorships over there in Georgia. I think I saw Carson Beck, Darnell Washington, and a couple other guys sitting on the same hood of the same car with the same Instagram post for the same business, which was crystals. I've had crystals maybe 4 times in my life. Every single time, extremely inebriated. Ain't never had crystals sober, and I don't think you should. I think it should be against the law to have Crystal's Burgers sober. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion, and you're here to have them, so you got them. But no, we appreciate all you guys for being here. I'll give you my early NIL impressions. I'll give a tip for the youngins. For you young bucks, are there any young football players, or maybe you're a parent who has a young football player that might be getting into some name, image, and likeness in the near future, whether that be a Division II athlete, a Division III athlete, all the way up to a program like the University of Georgia. All of you kids are available to make this here money. So I'm gonna teach you tonight, give you my opinion on how to best go about making that cash when you get to college. And then we'll talk about winning recruiting titles in the month of July and how I think Georgia has A, never been one of those, B, probably never will, and C, why you should probably hold your horses on the freakout session that some of you are having right now. If you're most of you guys that come listen to this show, except for the few trolls that pass by every once in a while, you're Georgia fans. You want to know what's going on. You want to know why there's no reason to panic. So I'm going to give you reasons why there are to not necessarily go out and panic. Now, is there something to stress about? Yeah, there is. We'll address those as we get going. Appreciate you guys for being here as always. Man, God, it feels great to be back, man. I feel like I don't even know how I explain this. I feel great. Crystals is not good sober. Not at all. Never had it. Wouldn't know. But again, I think it should be against the law. Should be written in the bylaws of Crystal. You should have to do a BAC right there on the spot. And if you are, well, obviously you shouldn't be driving, right? You should have to do a BAC right there on the spot. And if you're sober, they should kick you out of line. You can't have it. Sorry. Impossible. It's like eating cookout sober. Honestly, bit of a question decision right there. Anyways, appreciate you guys. Let's get right into this. Some of my favorites, man. I've had some favorites come across the timeline already with this name, image, and likeness stuff. Obviously, crystals being one of them. Georgia guys getting in on crystals. That's cool. All fine and dandy. I don't believe Darnell Washington's ever eaten crystals a day in his life until today when money was involved. That's fine. Get your bread, or in this case, get your, what do they call them, slides? Get your slider, okay? Get your slider, all right? That's fine. But I've got a couple more that I really loved watching happen. We got an Iowa basketball player that was out here trapping fireworks on the timeline. Thought that was hilarious. And also, oddly on brand, probably not much to do out in Iowa. I know it's July 4th and all that good stuff. Timely, sponsorship there, getting paid for some tweets, getting paid to go out there and just say, hey, go buy some fireworks, use promo code Hawkeye, and, go get you some scooter sticks, what was it? Joe Dirt style, with or without the Kittle stick, all that good stuff. Fireworks sales, Iowa, interesting. Got Barstool heavily involved with all this stuff, as per usual. I don't know if you probably don't know this. I'm not the biggest Barstool fan in the world. Don't really like what they stand for, the whole frat guy culture. Not really my brand. I'm more of just the D-bag, not necessarily the frat guy D-bag. So kind of off-brand on my end, but I thought it was obvious that Barstool would mix their hand in this at some point, somehow. So, yeah, there you go. They get in there and basically taking anybody that wants to be a Barstool athlete, including Tate Ratledge there at the University of Georgia is now a Barstool athlete, which I don't know what that means. I don't know if Barstool is actually going to pay these individuals. It sounded to me, based off Portnoy's message that he sent out on social media, they basically just get free merch, which I guess is cool. Not really the brand that I'd be tying myself to, but hey, that's fine. As long as eventually somewhere down the road, there's going to be some, compensation back from Barstool, other than Barstool just having the opportunity to slap their name on every athlete that there possibly is. So that's cool, I guess. But yeah, Barstool heavily getting involved. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but it's expected for this to happen. Spencer Rattler signing with Raising Cane's. That's kind of cool, I guess. I expected maybe some bigger name brands, some bigger deals. Derek King got $20,000 basically to tweet about some company down there in Miami. That's, I guess, neat. 20 grand's cool. Yeah, that's fine. One lick, 20 grand. That's awesome. They get about, they get $1,000 a month at most schools for stipend checks already. So you're already making 12, 15 grand, depending on what school you go to. I know out there in USC, stipend checks are like $2,100 a month because of inflation off of living wages, right? So they're already kind of getting these wages. I know there's a lot of things that people don't tell you about that, but yeah, stipend checks are a real thing. If you're on scholarship at any Division I, Power 5, program, whether it be baseball, football, volleyball, whatever it is, you're getting a stipend check. You're getting $1,000 a month, $1,200 a month on top of your living already being paid for. So it is what it is. I mean, you're getting this cash anyways, under legal ramifications under NCAA. Now you just get a bonus check to tweet out some stuff about, the local mango market. I don't know. But yeah, the list goes on with all these NILs, and I'm not really worried about it. It's not a problem. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's the death of college sports. No, it's not. As I've told you on this channel forever, these guys been getting paid forever. It may not have been above wage or above board or in front of your face, and they weren't tweeting about how much money they got, or Sports Illustrated or The Athletic wasn't writing stories about Derek King getting cash. But it's been happening, right? It's been happening all across college football. Now it's just happening in front of your face. And honestly, like I said, I thought it was going to be a little bit more than what it is. $20,000 sounds like a lot, but to a major company that's netting, maybe $4 or $5 million a year, what's 20 grand for Derek King to tweet about you? It's nothing. It's still a drop in the pail, and it's not life-changing money, right? When we heard about this, a lot of the uproar from a lot of, lack of a better term, boomers, I guess is what kids call them these days. The older generation that doesn't like any young man or young woman getting paid for their likeness or name and image, and wants to protect the sanctity that is college sports and all that other, gaslighting you see on Twitter or on social media or Facebook groups. My God, all that stuff. Yeah, not Dabo, prime example, as the commenters are coming in here and say, it's not the end of the world. This isn't life-changing money. This is temporary circumstance changing money. Is 20 grand something to scoff at? Absolutely not. But this ain't, 400, 500 G's like some of y'all thought it was going to be. Now, there was one athlete. It happened to be, golly, I can't believe I'm missing the name on this guy. But there's a rapper's son, basically, is a football player in an HBCU. I think he signed a $2 million deal with a record label company. So that's substantial money. But you guys don't even know about that because that guy doesn't play in the SEC, so you don't really care. But yeah, there is substantial money being out here and being made. I would imagine there's going to be more coming down the pike. But it is what it is. I wonder, Masterpiece, son. There you go. Appreciate you, DGD. But anyways, I wonder how much of this stuff is long-term and how long these deals are. That's my only concern for these athletes Derek King, that 20 grand deal he's got, is that like a 5-year deal? How long is that? What is the term on the deal? I know he got a signing bonus, but what is the term? Those are the things that I know the clearinghouses that these schools are going through, but those are the things that we don't hear reported, right? Like, as Derek King, let's say he signed with the local barbecue joint, right? Let's call it Piggly Wiggly's barbecue joint, right? Is he going to be tweeting about Piggly Wiggly when he's 5 years in the league because he's still on the deal? Like that. That's my question. Like, is that still going to happen? And that's something that you need to pay attention to. It's actually something that, the SIL American staff and I talked about with a current player that's, he's a couple months from being a first-round draft pick. He was out there as a counselor for the Elite 11 and the opening. And we were just talking to him. It was like, hey, man, what are you doing with this NIL stuff? And he's like, dude, I'm a rising junior in college, rising senior in college. I'm set to be a top 20 pick in like 6 months. Why on earth would I sign with, I keep going back to the mango stand because I don't know any small companies. Why in the heck would I sign with Hudson's Hickory Barbecue joint and have to tweet about them 3 years from now when I'm a millionaire? Why would I do that? So I think you're going to see a lot of these younger kids go out there and sign the deal with the local battery company, sign the deal with the local fireworks department, maybe sign a deal with the local golf cart company that sells golf carts out of Peachtree City. That's fine. The older guys, the more established guys, I don't know if they're going to be out here signing deals. Spencer Rattler, Raising Cane's is a big company. I would imagine that deal's probably pretty, monetarily valuable for him. But most of these guys that are on the doorsteps being first-round draft picks, why even bother? Again, is Spencer Rattler going to be tied to Raising Cane's 3 years from now when he's potentially an NFL MVP caliber quarterback? Like, that could happen, right? He could have a glow up like that immediately, and he's still tied to a freaking Raising Cane's deal when, he probably has enough money to own his own Raising Cane's franchise or whatever. So those are the things that I worry about. And again, that's the theory that some of these, soon to be first round draft picks are having. They're like, I'm out of college in 6 months anyways. I'll just wait. I'll just wait until real deals come around, right? Nike, Coca-Cola, Under Armour, whatever. All these real like companies that can actually give me life-changing money. I'll just wait for those guys. Now, the freshmen, sophomores, the Marius Mimses of the world, they probably just spent a bunch of money up front on overhead from merch, which that's fine. I'm here to tell you guys, unless you're selling thousands and thousands of units, the merch game is a money pit. There's 100% a money pit. You're going to end up spending all this initial overhead, getting all these T-shirts, made and fabricated, all that good stuff. And it's just going to be sitting in your dad's basement because no one's actually buying it. I like Amarius Mims. I think he's going to be a first-round draft pick in 3 years, without a doubt. I think he's probably going to start towards the end of the season for Georgia. I think he's that good. I think he's transcendent as a football player. Nobody's buying freshman offensive line T-shirts. Now, the casual fan might have, right? They might spend $35 on his hoodie. But again, you've got to move thousands and thousands of dollars worth of merch to even get a lick off that because of overhead, initial, startup costs of actually buying that stuff. Trust me, as somebody who bought a bunch of shirts for my Patreon guys, and don't comment that you didn't get one or I didn't give it to you because that's my bad. I know. But all these guys that are creating, T-shirts and merchandise, it's going to cost money to not only create it up front, but you're making dollars, like maybe $1.50, $2 on each shirt. Once you account for shipping costs and manufacturer costs and all that good stuff. And yeah, you made $2 for a shirt. You sell 1,000 of those, you made $2,000. Congratulations. It's a whole lot of work for $2,000. And then guess what? The guy that handled the shipping and the guy that handled, the manufacturer, he wants a cut. So now your cut's down to $1. Congratulations. You made $1,000. It's not the way to go. Okay. The way to go is just wait it out, ball out, and, have an actual real company come approach you. That's the way to do it, in my opinion. I feel like I'm a little rusty on the takes tonight. It is what it is. I'll get back in the groove eventually. Now, I do have a problem with some of this quote-unquote advice I'm seeing out here. And one of them, I doubt they're listening. They might be. I saw a really, really bad tweet from the Elite 11. A really, really bad tweet. One that I wasn't really comfortable with at all. Kind of made my stomach turn, honestly. They had this spokesperson come in and talk to these young men, and they tweeted this quote out. And I could not believe that they did this, but they did it. And I guess it's the world we're living in. And I quote, It's what the guy told these kids, these 17, 18-year-old kids that are entering college in 8 months? They're all going to be early enrollees, I would imagine. This is what he told them. He said, and I quote, "From this point forward, your bank account is going to be directly linked to your follower count." I'm going to tell you right now, that's some fugazi stuff. Okay. That is, not only is it fake, is it fraud, is it wrong? Okay. It's also completely dangerous to be telling 16, 17-year-old kids, 18-year-old kids that message. That's not the message you need to be throwing out to these kids. The message you need to be throwing out to these kids is your performance will directly impact your followers, which might directly impact your bank account. Because when you're out here doing this backwards, when you're out here telling these kids that the most important thing is that your follower count's increased, guess what? You're going to have them doing a bunch of stupid stuff on social media. Honestly, a bunch of stupid stuff on social media. And not only that, they're going to tie their self-worth to their social media. That's a dangerous proposition, especially for females, okay? Especially for females and young men, matter of fact. Okay, all these young men, it's dangerous. It's dangerous to tell them that if you get 1,000 more followers, you'll get 1,000 more dollars. That it equates to financial success, because I'm here to tell you it does not. It absolutely does not. You know what equates to financial success? Performance in any field. You go out and you ball out, you get paid like you balled out. Okay? Look good, feel good, play good. That's Deion Sanders' quote. Play good, get paid good. It is not look good, follower count good, money good. That's not the equation. It's not the equation at all. You know who doesn't go out there and sell their social media? You know who doesn't go out there and promote their social media? Who just uses their social media to post pictures of them bass fishing and pictures of their girlfriend at prom like any normal high school kid? Brock Vandergriff. You know how many followers Brock Vandergriff has on social media? 30,200. I checked today writing these notes. 30,000 followers. You know how many posts he's got? 33. He's got more than 1,000 followers per post. And he ain't out here selling it. He ain't out here telling people on Twitter, hey, go follow me on Instagram. He ain't out here posting IG stories every single day. He ain't out here doing IG lives. No. What he's doing is living his life, balling the hell out on the football field. And then guess what? The riches will follow. The followers will follow. The money will follow. The deal with Onward Reserve will come. Okay? You don't have to be out here selling yourself on social media, kids. You don't. And anyone that's telling you that probably doesn't know what they're talking about, or they're dangerous. You don't need to be listening to them. Yeah, I got a theory for you. You know, all these kids, they all want to boost their followers, right? Hey, Tennessee fans, go follow me on Twitter. Maybe I'll commit. Hey, Georgia fans, the next tweet, go follow me on Twitter. I might commit. You ever seen one of those kids that tweet the bulldog emoji, followed directly by an orange emoji for Tennessee, followed directly by what do you call it? A sword for USC, followed directly by an elephant. You get the point, right? You've seen these kids, right? You've all seen them. Guess what? Guess what doesn't happen? When they finally get a job, or when they finally get a scholarship and commit to that scholarship, let's say a prime example, and I know I've already used them, Amarius Mims, right? Amarius Mims went on this, I'm trying to grow my follower count spree before he committed, right? Most of us in the industry knew where he was going. I mean, almost all of us. Tennessee kind of flirted with him there for a little bit. He flirted with Tennessee there for a little bit. But guess what? Guess who's not buying Amarius Mims merch today? Tennessee fans. They're not. Guess who is? Georgia fans. If they did, it's Georgia fans. You know why? Because his entire merch catalog is black and red and white. Got some blue mixed in there, but still the logo is red and black. Why? Because he plays for Georgia. Why? Because the customer base that he's aspiring to reach are Georgia fans. How much did that tweeting out and flirting with all these other schools during your recruitment process? How many of those new thousands of followers you got? How many of those are buying Georgia branded merch? Well, it's not branded because you can't do it unless you play at, I think it was LSU. Unless you play at LSU, you can't put the school's brand on there, which is another nasty outcome of all this. All these rules are different everywhere. Can you tell I left my watch in LA? Got a little tan line. But anyways, no, guess who's not buying your merch? All those other schools that you flirted with, all their fan bases, they're not. So here's my advice to all the kids, right? All the kids watching, maybe the parents that got kids watching, okay? all of you. You know what the best way to go about this is? And I've actually told a kid this. And when I get to it, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. The best way to go about this is to not, hey, Tennessee fans, go follow me. Hey, Alabama fans, go follow me. Hey, yada, yada, yada. Maybe I'll go to your school. All that good stuff. Instagram live and every night. That's not the way to go about doing this. It's not. The way to go about doing this is go through your recruitment process. Do what you got to do. Figure out the school that you love. Listen to the NIL packages. It's good. It's part of your business. It's what's going forward. That's fine. Listen to all that good stuff. But once you identify the school you want to go to and you know for a fact that's the school you want to go to, your mind is made up, commit to that joker right then and there. And then guess what? Go to your Twitter timeline and be the lead dog or the lead elephant, I guess, the lead member of the Roll Tide class, right? Be the most outspoken guy before you even get on campus. Be Denylon Morissette. Because every single one of you Georgia fans that are watching this right now that have a Twitter account, I've heard from you. You've told me, I love Denylon Morissette. He's a dog. He's top dog. He's the lead dog. You know why? Because someone had the bright idea to tell him, hey, go on Twitter, be genuine about your love for Georgia because I know you love Georgia. Be genuine about it. Okay, tweet every kid you want to play with. Recruit the piss out of them every time you get an opportunity. Wake up every single morning and tweet the Power G and give me a go dogs. Do it every single morning. Because you know why? As soon as you get onto campus and as soon as people can pay you for appearances, as soon as people can pay you and buy your merch, as soon as people can make you the face of their company because they're a Georgia graduate, guess who the first kid they're going to remember is? Denylon Morissette. You know why? Because he was the most outspoken member of the class. Because he was the lead dog. Because he was outspoken about his love for the University of Georgia. Be that guy. That's what you ought to be. You shouldn't be the guy that's out here doing all the nonsense, right? That's counterintuitive. It's fugazi is what it is. Denylon Morissette's follower count is no bigger or smaller than Brock Vandagriff's. He's probably going to make as much of an impact and have as much of a brandable name when he enters college as the quarterback who damn near won the Elite 11 last year. Those are facts. You know why? Because you, the Georgia fan, care about him caring. That's what you care about. You guys, Jordan James, great football player. Y'all don't talk about him. Y'all don't. He's a great football player. He's such a good football player that Georgia took his commit as a running back in March of this recruiting cycle. That's how good of a football player he is. And maybe it's not his bag. Who cares? He's really quiet on social media. Maybe his bag is being great at football. And guess what? If and when he's great at football, the rest of it will take care of itself, as I was just telling you. But if you're going to be this guy, if you're going to be the one that actually cares about this stuff before you get on campus, there's only one way to do it. And that's to get in early at whatever school you want to and be extremely outspoken about how much you love that school. Because as you do that, those fan bases, the fans that follow that program, they'll love you. And they're going to love you back by putting money in your pocket when you get to college. Ain't no doubts about that. So again, that's the bag. That's the way to go about it. The way to go about it is to be Mr. Georgia. The way to go about it is to be Mr. A&M. Get in early, show how much you love the program, and it will reciprocate. It will reciprocate in dollars and in value. Again, because the fan favorite in this class right now, the one I hear about in my mentions all the time, the one that the Discord's talking about every day, is Denylon Morissette. Every single time he tweets a kid, every single time he tweets about Georgia, every single time he, puts the Coke bottle from the 1980 championship, right? And guess who responds? Carlton and CJ Madden, right? Right there in the tweets. Guess who sees all that stuff? You guys. Why? Because every media member and they mama is retweeting it. And you got us all on alerts. I ain't stupid. Guess what? These kids ain't stupid neither. That's the way to do it. That's the way to go about getting your bag. Don't do all this, I want love from every program when you're only going to play from one. That's stupid. That's hustling backwards. Okay? Because they ain't buying you stuff, Amarius Mims. They ain't buying you stuff. John Jefferson was in early, but you get what I'm saying. Tennessee ain't buying Amarius Mims merch. Tennessee ain't buying John Jefferson merch. If and when Nyland Green comes out with stuff, Tennessee ain't buying that stuff. Okay? The homie that lives up in Knoxville ain't buying stuff for somebody that wears red and black on Sunday or on Saturday. It ain't happening. Don't care how much you love them as a recruit. But them Georgia fans are, and they only got so much money for one or two of them. So be that one or two. is all I'm saying. All right, on to our next topic. I appreciate all you guys for being here. As always, I know I'm really just stopping to collect my thoughts right now because been going hot for like 25 minutes. Hope everybody had a good July 4th weekend. I always wonder when fireworks go off, like we got a bunch of veterans in our Discord chat, a bunch of veterans and active service members. PTSD is a real thing. And I think about dogs, right? Dogs getting freaked out by the fireworks, but I also worry about, still my wife was on our walk home yesterday from our fireworks display right down the street for our neighbors. I always wonder about those people, right? That PTSD is a real thing. And when fireworks go off, I hope and pray that doesn't take them to a bad place and hope they get in and out of that quickly. But that's something you never really think about, right? It's weird. It's backwards that you should think about those things, right? On the day we celebrate our independence, right? You should probably think about the people that fought and died for that independence and continue to fight and die for that independence. And that's where my thoughts went to. So maybe I'm misguided with that one. But yeah, that's the one I think about all the time when these fireworks go off, because they are loud, even from miles away. And I would imagine, never been around heavy gunfire, but I've heard guns get shot. I would imagine it's something similar in the distance, right? Especially when you got guys that were in as they call it, the suck. Okay, guys that were in the suck. I would imagine, you're probably getting major flashbacks from something like that. Just like when I see a guy get knocked out on the football field, I think about every time my head got ripped off on the football field. My head hurts. And you guys go, ooh, great hit. I go, ooh, man, I hope he's okay. That's the way I think about those things. So yeah, every once in a while, take time to thank a service member in those opportunities. And I thank all you guys that are here watching it. So yeah, I mean, we got commenters right now saying it sounded like a war zone in my neighborhood. It does. Now imagine guys that were in war zones and carry that around with them every day of their life. It's probably not a good vibe. But hey, boom, fireworks, celebrate America, woohoo, grill out some burgers and some hot dogs, all great. Fly the flag, go walk 17.76 miles like Turner did in our group message in our Discord. So shout out to all those guys. Shout out to all you guys. But let's get into our last segment of the night. I'm gonna throw some water on the fire that was my timeline today. I see a lot of panicking, man. See a lot of panicking all over the timeline. Our Discord's calm. They understand. They knew this. They knew most of this was coming. They get it. Fireworks just went off outside. They get it, right? They knew what was going off. Another one going off. Now I'm gonna be absolutely distracted. But here's the deal. You don't have to panic right now if you're a Georgia fan, and I'm gonna tell you why. Obviously, you missed out on Coach Antwi today. Obviously, there's some steam rolling with Kamari Wilson to other programs. I'm going to tell you that steam's been rolling. That kid has been blown away by every visit he's been on. Every school I talked to is like, oh, yeah, we killed that visit. Like, yeah, he thought you killed – he thought everyone killed every visit. So it's just the way he is right now. That's fine. Let the dust settle on that one, right? Let the smoke clear if we're going to continue with the fireworks analogy. Obviously, you missed out on Michael Williams. That was kind of a shock. Honestly, I knew it was happening after he got back from his visit to USC, but I don't think Georgia expected that one. I think Georgia thought that one was wrapped up. You missed out. And guess what? Because you missed out on Michael Williams, you were probably already missing out on Kristen Miller. That you might as well wrap that one up, put it on a bow, and send it to LA. That's fine. That kid was made for LA. If you know anything about him, if you follow any of our work, that dude was made for LA. It's the best place for him to be in his life, out there in LA. And I would imagine at some point he goes out there. So that's fine. You're going to miss on some in-state kids this cycle. But guess what? You miss every year. Every year. Last year, 2021's class, right? Consensus number one class in America. You won the SI's title. You won Rivals' title. You won 24/7's title. You won ESPN's titles. First time ever that there's been a consensus winner. Number one. Done. Period. Actually, it's 2020. Excuse me. And guess what? You missed out on prospects. I think last year you were consensus 2 or 3 overall in 2021. And you missed out on in-state guys like Barrett Carter. You missed out on in-state guys like Jordan Hancock. You missed out on in-state guys like Nate Wiggins up there at Clemson. Clemson, Ohio State. Guess what? You recruit upper echelon athletes, and you recruit in an area in the state of Georgia that produces D1, Power 5, major top 100 caliber prospects at a higher capita than any state in America. That is fact. I don't care about your Texas high school football. I know you guys love it out there. That's fine. but your damn state's the size of 4 states here in the Southeast, okay? So, yeah, you produced 140 SI All-American candidates last year, but you play like 50,000 high school football players out there, okay? Your state is literally almost like 80% of the Midwest. So, I don't want to hear none of that. Georgia produced 135 SI All-American candidates last year, and they are a fraction of the size of the state of Texas. Okay, the only one that even comes close to competing it is Florida, and I've given John Garcia at SI All-American crap about that one. That one's because he's from Florida. Okay, I'm gonna be real with you on that one. Okay, Georgia produces it at a higher rate than anybody per capita. So guess what that means? Ohio State's gonna come in here and pull Kojo Antwi every once in a while. USC, especially now with name, image, and likeness, they're gonna come over here and pull Michael Williams every once in a while. What you can't have is Nate Wiggins going to Clemson because Georgia didn't start recruiting him until his senior year. That's what you can't have. All right. That's not the case in this class. You went hard after Kojo. You lost. You went hard after Michael Williams. You lost. You went hard after Kristen Miller towards the end of his commitment or end of his recruitment. You're probably going to lose. That's okay. It happens every cycle. Again, you went hard on Barrett Carter. He's going to ball out at Clemson. You went hard on Jordan Hancock. He's going to ball out at Ohio State. Okay. That's fine. It's going to happen every class. But what I'm here to tell you is, the University of Georgia didn't win their recruiting battles off of July success. It's never been what it is. Kirby is the definition of a closer. Over the years, the recruiting titles that he has won, the recruiting titles that you guys love, because for some reason, if you don't sign a top 3 class, all hell's broken loose, as if a top 5 class isn't loaded with great players. You still got to get them there, and you still got to develop them. That's the stuff we never talk about. Except for rival fan bases talking about, oh, Kirby doesn't develop. Tell that to Eric Stokes. Tell that to Monty Rice. Tell that to Solomon McKinley. Tell that to Warren McClendon, who was an all-SEC player last year, right, as a low-ranked 4-star, who probably, if I remember correctly, wasn't even a 4-star until he committed to Georgia, because that's how these things work. I've been on this high horse before. You know it. Okay, so Kirby's a closer. He's the definition of one. Momentum recruiter, despite what my sources in that program tell me, is a thing. They do it. And guess who else does it? Mario Cristobal. That joker ran off 5 commitments in a matter of 3 days this week just because. Tay Crowder, another great example the commenters are throwing out there. Okay, so there's development there, and there's also upper echelon recruiting in late cycles. I got some names for you. We rattled them off in the Discord today. Quay Walker, last-minute signing, flipped him from Tennessee, or at least got him to throw the hat off from Tennessee. I can't remember the full backstory on that because there's 500 of these kids per class I got to cover. Jake Fromm, Alabama commit, flip, back to Georgia in mid-February, I believe, right? Jermaine Burton, flipped, LSU. Cedric Van Pran signed him late in the class. LSU had that one early on. Georgia got in there about November and sealed that deal. Once Matt Luke took over, Sam Pittman left, there was some work to be done. Guess what? They closed. Broderick Jones, same thing. Sam Pittman left. There was major work to be done there. So much so that Broderick Jones took a visit up to Arkansas. Hell, he took a visit to Syracuse. Okay, so there was some closing to do. Guess what? He closed. All right. DeJuan Mathis flipped him from Ohio State. Why? Just because he needed to. Flipped him late. Got it done. Bag. See you. Not bag. Bag's the wrong term there. In the bag. Sealed it. Sealed the deal. I got to be careful with those things because rival fan base is like, oh, Kirby throws money around. As if yours don't. Justin Fields, done. Late. Flip from Penn State, right? Got him late. A recruitment that had to be worked on all the way through. Adam Anderson, same thing. Was at Georgia, decommitted, came back. Work was to be done. The point remains, okay? Flipping out over recruitments in July is silly, especially when these kids just got back from campus. Kojo Antwi is 2 weeks away from being up at Ohio State and listening to Brian Hartline tell him everything there is about how he develops receivers, which he does, by the way. That was the main recruitment. That was the main point of the recruitment. Kojo, you need to come here. You're raw. We can develop you better than anyone else. Here's my receipts. That's what it was, right? We'll see how that plays out throughout the year. Because guess what? Just because you commit right now don't mean that your phone not going to keep ringing. I'm here to tell you that right now. There ain't no unwritten rule like in baseball that people just follow. Oh, yeah, you committed. Congratulations. I'll talk to you tomorrow. That's how that works. All right. So all these guys that are popping these commits, all these guys that are current commits. Hell, we saw guys from Oklahoma, right? I saw Luther Burden. Luther Burden took every visit there was. Okay. Malachi Starks, only dude at Georgia that's committed right now that didn't take a visit anywhere else. Okay. Marquise Groves-Killebrew took visits. Deion Smoke-Bowie obviously took visits, decommitted. Heck, CJ from Cedartown, that's how long I've been off camera. He took visits. That's a dude that I never thought would do any of this. I thought he was cut from the Malachi Starks brand. And he'll end up at Georgia. That's fine. He ain't going nowhere. Like CJ Williams. He ain't going nowhere. So you're fine. But they take visits. They go. They keep talking to these guys. Washington, not Williams. It's been a while. Again, I've been off camera and off microphone and off freelancing for a long time. But yeah, I mean, these guys, there ain't no loyalty in a commitment no more. There never really was, but especially now in this cycle. So just calm down. I mean, seriously, just calm down. As I told you, just because Georgia's letting guys out of the state, that ain't nothing new. In 2020, he signed more out-of-state guys than he did in-state guys. I think he signed 9 guys from the state of Georgia in a class that he took 25. Okay, schools like or states like California, Texas, Nevada, Arizona, New Jersey. Okay, he pulled guys from everywhere across the country and just picked and choose the guys he wanted from the state of Georgia. He could do the same thing. I mean, he doesn't have to load up every class with 15, 16 guys. Okay, just calm down. It'll be okay. Okay. In the middle of September, this discussion is going to look completely different, by the way. These names I'm about to tell you, I'm not saying they're coming to Georgia, but I'm saying they're going to pull most of these. They're going to pull a lot of these. Branson Robinson, Deni Dennis Sutton, both come in on the same day. Both basically, obviously, down to Georgia and Alabama, I would imagine. That's fine. Deni Dennis Sutton wants to humor Penn State. That's fine. Penn State going to win 3 games this year. We'll talk about that when we get there. You're going to be okay. Tyler Booker, that one's coming down the pipe eventually. And guess what? You're right in the thick of that one. Okay, CJ Madden, kid from Cedar Grove, infatuated with the University of Georgia. He's committing mid-September. That is no coincidence. Okay, so just hold your horses because in 6 weeks from now, this discussion is going to look completely different and you're going to feel goofy that you even freaked out about it. All right, so just simmer down, boys and girls. It's okay. Don't go out trying to fire Cortez Hankton because he let Kojo Antwi leave the state. I love Kojo. That's fine. Ohio State is the best place for Kojo Antwi. He needs that. He needs Brian Hartline. Okay, and Cortez Hankton may not be the wide receiver coach that Brian Hartline is, but guess what? There's one of those. Okay, I am a firm belief, and man, they are lighting it up outside. I am a firm belief that Brian Hartline is the best wide receiver coach in America. And if he sold a kid on that, kudos to him. Okay, kudos to him that he sold that kid on the fact that he has a track record of development. Because guess what? He does. Okay, if Georgia wanted Kojo Antwi, it wasn't going to be, hey, look at all our NIL stuff. Look at what we did with Jermaine Burton and George Pickens and all these guys. That's not the pitch. If they wanted Kojo Antwi, the pitch would have been, hey, look how great Tommy Bush got while he was here. Hey, look how great Matt Landers got while he was here. Guys that were extremely raw coming out of high school. Guess what? They just fizzled out once they got to Georgia. That's the God's honest truth. Brian Hartline's got Curtis Samuel. He's got all these guys that he's shown. You come here, as a raw prospect with height, weight, speed, we turn you into Michael Thomas, one of the best route runners in the NFL. Okay, we turn you into one of those guys. And I'm not going to sit here and say Cortez Hankton is a bad football coach because he's not. He is not. He's just not the best football coach. Okay, the grass is always greener, all that nonsense, all those cliches, they're cliches for a reason. You fire Cortez Hankton, you might not get someone as good as Cortez Hankton. It's a fact. And you cannot be out here talking about let's fire our wide receiver coach because we let the in-state 4-star leave. Because if that was the case, you would have fired Glenn Schumann last year. How stupid would you have been for that one? Yeah, he got Xavier Soren and Smile Mondon and Jamon Dumas Johnson, so he recovered really, really well. But Barrett Carter committed before all of those people, all of them, every single one of them, and I didn't hear nobody calling for Glenn Schumann's job. Because guess what? You let him finish You let him figure it out. And if at the end of this class, Georgia's wide receiver class looks like Andre Green, Denial Morissette, and maybe one other massive flip, guess what? You're going to be satisfied. And again, you're going to think the discussion that you took to Twitter in July was silly. So just calm down. I need to calm down. How red my face is. That's just me being hot. All right, let's do some Q&A. I didn't even have 45 minutes worth of show notes today. I probably did. My show notes were no shorter than any, normal session, but I was just that hyped up. I'm going to have to go back and watch this one because I bet I sounded like I was on every bit of caffeine and maybe a little bit something else. Let's fire off them Q&A, guys. Let's get them filled out. While we're here, please like the video. And if you feel free, man, join into that Patreon subscription, patreon.com/Brooks Austin. Link is in that bio. I don't even think I saw SSL in here tonight, which is sad because I'm not going to have anybody to, filter through these comments and filter through these questions. And that's okay. I'll give it 2 or 3 minutes. And if we don't have any questions, I'm more than happy to roll out of here and just talk to the Discord guys in the lounge for a couple minutes before I get on my run. I haven't ran in forever because I'm out in LA. As you can tell, I haven't shaved. I look like I've gained like 4 or 5 pounds in my face. Florida fans going to be calling me fat on the timeline like I haven't been called fat my whole life. Let's see here. It sounded like a war zone in my neighborhood. No more questions. I didn't think I was in my bag tonight, Chandler. I think that was you just missing me being on here. I haven't been on here forever, so I appreciate you for appreciating me. Here we go. One question. This is probably an obvious question. Do you think Georgia load managed their starters late in the season? 100%. It wasn't even late in the season either. If you go back, the very first thing I noticed last year against Arkansas, you open up, right? You open up against Arkansas. You go out. You have one series of defense. The next series, Quay Walker comes in for Monty Rice. Then the next series, Quay Walker goes in or stays in, and Nakobe Dean goes out. Monty Rice comes back in. All day long. All day long. Here we go. How fast do you think Nyland Green adjusts? I think he's already adjusting. A lot of that's learning the playbook, man. It's pretty tough. But I have this theory about young corners. Just throw them out there. You play a whole bunch of man-to-man at Georgia. I get it's complicated. I get it's a hard scheme. But if you don't want to be such a butthole about it and such a I'm smarter than everybody guy, okay, you can just say, hey, we're playing 2-man under all day long because our corners friggin' strap, right? They put them in that seatbelt. That's a new one nowadays, by the way, guys. You can tell I've been at 7-on-7 all week. The new seatbelt sign. That's what the corners do when they lock somebody down. Your corners can strap, dog. So just let them go out there. Let them strap. You think Nyland Green or Kamari Lassiter help out on the defense? I was talking to somebody today, asked me the same question. Like, do you really think Nyland Green's getting playing time? Yes. Yes. Georgia plays 5 or 6 corners every year. Okay. And I'm also here to tell you, guys, there's going to be a whole lot of blowouts on that Georgia schedule. A whole lot. Okay. A lot of them. So, yeah, all these young guys are going to play. Now, what Georgia does, as well as anybody else, and it's not anything groundbreaking, but they make sure they keep them under that 4-game threshold so they can maintain that red shirt. How is your old producer? Oh, no, he's good. How old is your producer? Is that the question you're asking? It seemed to make it easier on you when he was around. He's never here for NBR, but it definitely makes it a whole lot easier when he's here. I don't even do film sessions without him here. I can't. And if we get our equipment back, because I might have left my camera in the Uber out there in LA, don't worry. We got it. It's on its way back. If I get my camera here in time, we will do a live Jalen Carter film study on Wednesday, and I could not be more excited for that one. I've had the notes in my notebook for 3 weeks now. We're going to go through 3 games of his. Dude's a stud, first-round draft pick moving forward. Love it. But, yeah, Dicko's phenomenal. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. Every bit of upgrades in this product, I credit to him and my bank account, honestly. That's about it, right? My ingenuity, my thought process, his ability for me to walk in and say, hey, I want to do this, 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 and this. And Dicko's like, all right, bet. I'll figure it out. Don't worry. I'll watch some YouTube shit. Because that's how these young guys are. They can go watch something and be like, all right, yeah, I know how to do it. Who do you have starting at left tackle and right tackle this year? I know it's early. It is early, William, but I wrote an article about this before I went out to LA and didn't do that well, obviously, because you didn't read it. But here's what I think shakes out, okay? You got to understand that you've got a hole, on the offensive line. Whether you want that hole to be at left tackle or whether you want that hole to be at right guard, you have a hole on this offensive line. You can either start somebody for the first or second time in the case of Xavier Truss at left tackle, or you can start them at right guard against the nation's best front seven, and there ain't no doubt that Clemson's front seven is that good. Okay, so you can either start the rookie at left tackle or you can start the young guy at right guard. And in my opinion, as an offensive line guy, I would rather Jamari Sawyer figure out left tackle because guess what? I can hide a right guard a lot better than I can hide a left tackle. No doubt about it. So what I think they do is they start Jamari Sawyer at left tackle. They let Tate Ratliff figure it out against Clemson, and they hide him as much as they can, give him as much help, slide the center over as much as they possibly can. And then towards the middle end of the season, right, you're going to see Amarius Mims and Broderick Jones play a crap load of tackle as soon as you get back and you play Charleston Southern and UAB. I think those are the two games following Clemson. So you're going to get your cupcake games back this year, and with that becomes or allows you to play some of these guys. Jake Pope, I don't really answer these questions on public forums. Feel free to hit up the Patreon. I've updated everything there is to know about Jake Pope from some guys pretty close and plugged in to that one. How is Dean doing on his rehab? Everything I've heard sounds good. So we're good there, or you're good there. Thoughts on Georgia's chances with Shamar Stewart? Another one. I don't look, man. This year, I really don't care about commits in general or commitments. This year, more than ever, commitments mean nothing. Somebody got wooed and slewed during an official visit, and they're all gung-ho about committing. Talk to me midseason. Talk to me come late November. Talk to me early December. Shamar Stewart, that one's going down to the daggum wire. The wire. That one won't be solved until the day that national letter of intent is signed and faxed off. Okay, and maybe not even then. With somehow some of these things work nowadays. It's absolutely bonkers and absolutely nuts. So, yeah, whatever the buzz is on Shamar Stewart, it's the reason you're probably asking Elias. Ellis. It's probably the reason you're asking Ellis. It's because there's some buzz that he's probably, silenced somewhere or probably going somewhere. Probably some message board talking about him. That's fine. It's fine. Talk to me in November about guys like that, okay? The guys like that got spots everywhere. If y'all ain't noticed that one, okay? These schools with these bigger prospects, like prime example, if Michael Williams calls up in December and says, Georgia, I want to come, guess who's got space now? Guess who's going to find space? Georgia, okay? Shamar Stewart, same example. I was talking to a commit or a prospect, not a commit, a prospect about 2 months ago, and he was so ready to commit. It was before the official visits opened, so actually probably 3 months ago. I was like, are you ready? He's like, nah, I mean, yeah, kind of. I was like, yeah, kind of. On the biggest decision of your life? No, yeah, kind of that decision. Wait, figure that one out, because guess what? The schools that are recruiting you right now, they're going to hold a spot for you, bro. They're gonna. Okay, and if they don't have room, guess what? They're going to make room. Okay, Alabama, of all places, held a spot. They always hold spots. That's how they end up signing 28 when Terrion Arnold finally decides he wants to go to Alabama. Okay, Georgia held a spot for Terrion Arnold last year. Florida was the only school not smart enough to hold a spot. Why? Because they knew he wasn't coming. Okay, so yeah, all these guys like Shamar Stewart, call me in December. Okay, that I ain't worried about none of that. Who do you think is a tougher out between Kentucky and Missouri for Georgia? I like Missouri because I like their quarterback. Okay, Basilak and their coach. Old Drink up there, man. Eli knows what he's doing. At least he did in year one. That roster was completely depleted when Barry Odom left. And the fact that they won, I think, 4 games in an all-SEC schedule. Everybody wanted to hype up Sam Pittman, and I get we're in the Georgia space, and everybody in the Georgia space loves Sam Pittman because of the yes, sir. Yeah, I get all that. Drink did a better job at Missouri, in my opinion, year one. Okay. And I know Arkansas got robbed of a couple games. Auburn, off the top of my head, I think they got robbed against Kentucky. But yeah, Drink knows what he's doing up there, and they score points. And if you can score points, you get hot in a football game, you can make something shake. Week 1 versus week 14 DB room. Interesting. I think it's gonna be the same. I think you're gonna rotate a lot of guys this year. I think Darian Kendrick's gonna be one guy, and then it's a revolving door of playing the hot hand on the other one. That's what I think is gonna happen. What do you think Georgia's most desired recruit is? For me, it's Travis Shaw. That's my roster. If I'm controlling that roster, knowing what Jordan Davis means to that defense, it's 100% Travis Shaw. 100% Travis Shaw. What receiver do you want Georgia to bring in? I like the Andre Green kid. I saw a kid this weekend, Jaden Gibson. If I'm Georgia, I'm calling that guy immediately. And they may or may not already be. But yeah, if Jaden Gibson is the guy I would. It's the best performance over a 4-day span I've seen from any athlete all year. Jaden Gibson. And I got some more guys that I'm going to drop on the Patreon probably tomorrow morning. There's a kid out of Arizona that is absolutely ungodly. So a 2023 kid that I ain't never seen nothing like that one. Nah, I haven't. I have not. What is the most overrated city in the country and why is it LA? Because In-N-Out's trash. All the infrastructure garbage. They're working on everything. And I get it. I come from Atlanta. Like, I know we got infrastructure problems. Hell, I worked in it for 10 years. Holy crap, I'm old. Yeah, so I get it. There's road work everywhere, and nobody's working. It's just holes in the middle of the road. Obviously, the homeless thing that everybody talks about, I didn't really see that heavy. Maybe I wasn't looking in the right spot. Airport, garbage airport, grimy, gross. Everything's closed all the time. COVID, probably they'll blame that on that. Awful. LA, overrated. Don't go. Just don't do it. Don't even bother. I just smoked LA. How does UGA maintain keeping all the weapons on offense happy? I think the whole keep them happy thing's overrated too. Especially if we got good guys in the room, right? Jermaine Burton is not one of these guys that's going to come back to the huddle moaning and complaining because he didn't get the ball. It's not the way he operates. Dominic Blaylock, definitely not one of those people. Marcus Rasimi Saint, not one of those people. Adonai Mitchell, Adonai, not one of those people. George is one of those people. But if you got one of those guys, you're okay, right? You're going to be fine. Avery Gilbert, not going to be outwardly spoken. His people might be, but he's not going to be. So I think you're good there, honestly. Where does Blaylock fit in the wide receivers room? There's a lot of competition in that slot receiver this year, man. I think you got 3 guys that do 3 different things, right? Then you got the take the top off guy with Arian Smith, just go ball. I got a tweet about that one. Todd Munkin, I'm here asking you again to run another fade or run another streak. That's what it's going to be for Arian Smith this year. Kyrus Jackson's the yak guy where all your tunnel screens, all your bubble screens, they'll be going to Kyrus. And then, of course, there is Dominic Blaylock, who to me is a combination of both of those guys. He can beat you deep. He's a good route runner. He's got excellent short area quickness, all that good stuff. It's a 3-headed monster there. And the main guy that's taken away reps from all of them is Brock Bowers. I think you're going to see Brock Bowers in the slot a lot this year as well. Most important starter on both sides of the ball this year, I still think it's Jordan Davis. If you study that defense and what they do as much as I do, it's always going to be the zero tech. There's so much going on there. Kamari Lassiter, what's my opinion? One of the most overrated or underrated guys in the class. He was a 3-star for the longest time until George ended up signing him. He's a freak athlete. Go watch that tape. That dude does everything. Super explosive. And I love corners that hit. I know it's a little overrated nowadays. Everybody just wants a traditional cover corner and all that good stuff. They want Greedy Williams more than they want, a corner that thumps, right? Well, I like corners that aren't, they're football players. I don't want 7-on-7 guys playing corner. I want football players. Kamari Lassiter is a football player. He's going to be a good ball player. Is Ringo starting early this year? Maybe not early. We've talked about this on this channel before. Kirby's he's got history in these types of scenarios of playing the old guy. He's always going to give the old guy a shot to lose the job. And honestly, I think you have to. I really do. The way in which he recruits, if you don't give Amir Speed a chance to play, corners are going to stop coming. If you don't give him an opportunity to lose that job as a senior, guys are going to stop coming because they're going to be afraid of competition. Every single time they're going to be looking behind their shoulder saying, oh, crap, who's the new 5-star he brought in? Okay, who's the new guy he loves? You got to give an opportunity for that guy to lose the job. And honestly, I think he will, right? Keely Ringo is the better football player. I don't doubt that. He's the better profile. He's the better highway speed guy. And I think he's going to perform better over the long run. But initially, I think you have to give the old guy the opportunity, even if it's for the first 3 series of the Clemson game. And then you begin to rotate. Guys, guess who rotates corners too? Clemson. They rotate corners. Guess who also has a major corner debate? Clemson. Is Nate Wiggins going to start or is the older guy going to start? It's happening everywhere, so it's okay. Who has the best fall camp this year? It's a great question. I'm going to go Carson Beck. He had the best spring camp, that's for sure, of anybody that's not a starter, and it's not going to matter, really. It's not going to matter. But I think Carson's the guy to look out for, okay, just off the top of my head. And then Amarius Mims, the longer, I mean, he's been in a SEC weight room the whole entire offseason. That one's going to be one to watch as well. Okay, Ryan. So, okay, yeah. So, thanks, Ryan, but you're still going to have cupcakes to get these guys worked up. Still good to go. I know Coach Smart says experience is the key, but what do you think is honestly holding Ringo back? Guys, spring practice was the first time that guys played football in 18 months. 18 months. He had shoulder surgery the day he stepped on campus, okay? Missed all year last year. So he hadn't played since December of his senior year of high school. And he was even banged up then. That's why he had to have surgery. So he ain't played football since December of 2019? December of 19. That's 18 months from spring practice. And everybody thought he was going to come out there and light the world up. No, it's hard. Football is hard, okay? Especially when you're playing SEC caliber. It's hard. I don't care how good you are, especially if you haven't done it in forever. Any concerns with Kirby handcuffing Monken? Nope, not at all. I think your depth chart and your situation handcuffed your offensive coordinator last year, okay? That's the God's honest truth. Shortened offseason, condensed offseason, starting quarterback that you built an offense off, opting out, a month before your first game? That'll do it to you. That'll do it to you right there. You thinking Carter goes off this season? Absolutely. Got to get a lot more playing time, though. That was the problem last year, but he's a freshman. And honestly, conditioning's got to get better. Some we'll talk about tomorrow. Conditioning has got to get better. He's got to get ready to play 40, 50 snaps a game. He was not ready to do it last year until late in the season. Cincinnati was by far his best football game because he was playing like it was daggum hair was on fire. Okay. I heard Kirby is going to make Monken run the ball every single play of the game. What a scrub. Oh, Pope being it's comical. He's being sarcastic, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Pope, old Thomas Tyson. Appreciate you, Thomas. Oh man, your wedding photographer was flicking you up that day, wasn't he? Here we go. Let's go. Keely Ringo starts later in the season, probably. That's what we were just talking about. LA sucks, 100% does. UJ offered Gibson 30 minutes ago. I mean, we might just end the stream on that one. There you go. I mean, yeah. Shout out to the Patreon, right, boys? Shout out to the Patreon. Patreon.com/Brooks Austin. You would have heard that one about, 12 hours ago? Yeah. So there you go. Do you see Beck transferring after this year? Way too early to tell. What about, I'm assuming you're talking about Trayvon Walker, great football player. He's going to ball out. And a lot of these people are saying he was, a bust or whatever, wasn't developed. The guy hadn't played. He's played like 20 snaps a game for the last 2 years because Malik Herring was a dude. Okay, well, guess what? Now Trayvon Walker's the dude. And he's going to ball out. Yeah, he's going to play almost every snap of every game, and he's going to rack it up. Matter of fact, he might be a first-round draft pick after this year. Because if he goes out and has 10 sacks, 19 and a half TFLs, and plays every down, guess what? He's 6'5", 300 pounds, and is a freak athlete. So, yeah, man, that makes me feel good about Jaden Gibson. I'm going to text that dude right now. Appreciate you guys. Sign up for the Patreon. All that stuff's in there. Okay, I had some people ask about Jake Pope. That's in there. Kojo Antwi, you'd have been plugged in on that one today. Would have been no shock for anybody. I don't think it was a shock for anybody in the industry anyways, but it wouldn't have been a shock for you about 2 weeks ago. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you for being here. We will see you next time. Wednesday, hopefully, if that overnight package gets here.